Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually am not satisfied to wait for entry into the record the answer to Mr. Sherman's question, so I want to take you back to it if I may. I think where he ended that when his time ran out was, is it true when there's been a breach of a retailer's system that the financial institutions are on the hook to make the consumer whole?
Yes.
Absolutely. We spent $8,000 because of the Home Depot breach.
How much?
$8,000.
We spent a great deal more than that.
We spent more than $150,000 on the Target breach.
It was significant.
I think it's actually a little more complicated.
I'm going to get there.
Okay.
So
Ours was about $42,000.
So thank you for that. What I hear from retailers is that they have to pay fines to the credit card companies, which they believe or are intended to help cover some of the cost of the loss.
If you can send me the information on where I can get that recovery,
Well,
very
that's what I'm getting at. Is it true that retailers pay fines to credit card companies when there's been a breach? And if it is true, have any of you ever seen any recovery? Professor, if this gets to where you were going to.
Yes, it is true. If you want to see something published on it, I have an article that I'm happy to give you the citation about this. The consumer liability is capped by Truth in Lending Act and the Electronic Funds Transfer Act. So the consumer is not going to be out of, in most situations, the consumer will not be out of pocket. There are considerable collateral losses that occur in a data breach. Some of those get eaten by the financial institutions. A lot of them get eaten by merchants. Walmart's estimate for what a data breach costs is something like $100 per consumer.
Does their loss
millions? You're talking about real money there, when it's millions of records.
Okay, but I heard all of them say they've not recovered from.
Yeah, we are not Walmart, unfortunately, and we don't have the dollars that they do.
Yeah, well, I'm getting back at his point, though. None of them said they got any recovery.
Oh, no.
You said it was.
I'm saying Walmart, usually it's the retailer that eats most of the cost of the data breach. Banks eat a small bit of it, but it's mainly the retailers.
I would disagree.
The biggest cost is the reputation risk that caused. It's our card that the member swiped, and we're the ones that have to call them. We can't tell them which retailer it was that caused the data breach to their information.
All right.
So we're the ones that take the reputation hit.
And we have to replace all the cards that have been breached, not just the ones that actually fraud has been perpetuated on.
And Walmart is not protecting our members. We are. And I agree with whoever said it down there. Our members want to know who did this, who caused it, because they don't want to do business there anymore, and we can't tell them.
There's a technology change that's not
I have more questions in limited time, but I do think that this exchange indicates A, a problem, and B, a complexity to the problem. I also think it indicates, C, a very worthy subject of consideration. I just want to note for the record that there are other committees in the House of Representatives taking this up. It would be, I think, nice, if I can use this as a friendly suggestion, that this committee that has significant interest in the financial sector could examine it from the standpoint of its impact on you. Professor, I read your testimony, I listened, and you make a case. But I'm wondering if you would at least acknowledge that there are significant compliance costs, whether or not that's the reason, as you argue against, and I follow that logic chain. There are significant compliance costs placed on small institutions.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that you picked up on the subtle difference between whether it's the real cause of these institutions' problems or whether, I make no argument that there are no compliance costs. There are serious compliance costs.
Thank you. That's all I needed. Lastly, for anybody from the institutions, I am concerned that smaller institutions are being required to exit certain lines of business, becoming more specialized, therefore more concentrated. A, I wonder if that's your perspective. B, do you think it may have a material impact on safety and soundness if you are becoming more concentrated as economies of scale disallow, prohibit, or impede your entry to other areas? Great question to finish on with my time
Short answer is
run out.
yes. It's going to cause some credit unions to get out of mortgage lending because of the QM rules. So they're going to be more concentrated in
Is
car
your
loans,
safety
credit
and
cards.
soundness effective?
Yes. When you take away the ability to have multiple lines of business and concentrate them in fewer, you create more risk.
Thank you, Mr.
Time of the
Chair.
gentleman has expired. The chair now